You think Shao Kahn was tough? Buddy, you haven't met pain until you fought these monsters. There are bosses in Mortal Kombat that don't just break your bones, they break your spirit.
Kronika wins.
Today, we're diving into the 10 absolute hardest bosses in Mortal Kombat history. The ones that made you rage quit, throw your controller, or scream into a pillow at 3 a.m. These are the bosses that cheat, spam, and hit harder than a tax bill in April. But more than that, they're the legends that define why Mortal Kombat is one of the most brutally iconic franchises ever made. And somewhere in this list, there's a boss you probably still haven't beaten. Let's see if you can find them. Shao Kahn. Let's start with the king of cheap shots himself. This guy doesn't play fair. He plays dominance. He's the final boss in several MK games, and almost every time he's been an unholy pain. He taunts you mid-fight, takes reduced damage, hits like a truck, and has a hammer that feels like getting hit by a speeding SUV. What makes him so infuriating is his AI. It reads your inputs and counteracts everything. You jump, he shoulder barges. You block, he grabs. You breathe wrong, he laughs and crushes your ribs. In Mortal Kombat 9, he's especially brutal. No projectile spamming allowed, and if you make even a single mistake, he'll end you in seconds. It's like trying to fistfight a vending machine that hates your existence. Kronika, Mortal Kombat 11. Now, if we're talking about bosses that redefine unfair, Kronika deserves a crown made of rage. She's the final boss in Mortal Kombat 11, and NetherRealm clearly decided to troll us all. Unlike almost every other character in the game, you can't even use combos on her. She teleports, reverses time, and calls in backup from random other fighters like it's a WWE tag team match. The worst part? When you finally get her health low, she gets another full health bar. And those cinematic intermissions she triggers mid-fight, they feel like the game's stopping to remind you how much you suck. Onaga. Meet Onaga, also known as the Dragon King, or as I call him, the final exam you didn't study for. This beast is a walking tank. He's got super armor, crazy regeneration powers, and enough brute strength to toss Goro like a stuffed animal. You can't use fatalities on him, and normal attacks feel like you're trying to cut down a redwood with a spoon. Plus, he hits you with unblockable fireballs and ground pounds that cover half the screen. The only real way to beat him is to memorize patterns and basically cheat death by timing. If you go in swinging, you're going home weeping. Motaro. You'd think a half-man, half-horse mutant wouldn't be that bad. You'd be wrong. Motaro is the definition of rage. He's fast, strong, and his tail, that thing is evil. He can reflect projectiles, teleport, and stomp you like a cockroach. And because he's so massive, most of your attacks either miss or barely do any damage. And good luck jumping. His anti-air game is flawless. People still argue online whether he was harder than Shao Kahn in MK3. That's how bad he was. Goro, 1992. This is the OG boss that caused millions of 90s kids to cry. Goro wasn't the final boss, but he felt like one. 4 arms, insane strength, and faster than you'd expect for a guy built like a refrigerator. He grabs, slams, punches, and uppercuts like he's trying to knock your ancestors out. He doesn't block often because he doesn't need to. And back in 1992, there was no tutorial, no easy mode, just pure trial and error. Beating him felt like climbing Everest in flip-flops. Dark Raiden. Okay, Dark Raiden isn't a traditional boss fight, but in Armageddon's ending, he turns into a power-mad villain, and let me tell you, if the game had let us fight him properly, he'd have been the final boss from hell. Lore-wise, he's ridiculously strong, and if you play against him in AI battles, he'll teleport spam, use lightning grabs, and trap you in stuns while you watch helplessly. Dark Raiden is the kind of character that makes you go, wait, am I the villain here? And in gameplay, he sure treats you like one.
Tremble before me as I absorb Earthrealm's power.
let's talk about corrupted Shinnok. This guy is the reason why some players never finished Mortal Kombat X. In his corrupted form, he's a lava-spewing demon with god-tier power. His moveset is unfair, his damage output is insane, and don't even try zoning him, he'll punish you for breathing too loudly. Worse yet, his hitboxes feel broken. Sometimes you'll think you dodged something, but nope, that lava tendril still grabs you. And when he laughs, that smug I own you laugh, yeah, trauma. Blaze. This giant burning golem is not just the final boss of Armageddon, but the boss that decides the entire MK timeline. And he plays like it. Blaze is enormous, hits hard, and covers wide areas with fire attacks. The camera even zooms out for the fight because the dude's so massive. He uses knockback moves that send you flying, and just when you think you're safe, boom, pillar of fire. The battle feels less like a fight and more like surviving a volcanic apocalypse. And even if you win, canonically, it doesn't even matter. Sindel, Mortal Kombat 9. Yep, Sindel. Not a final boss, but this version of her? Ridiculous. In MK9's story mode, she goes full Terminator, wiping out multiple major characters in one scene. In the actual fight, she's got insane speed, teleportation, and a scream that juggles you like pizza dough. And unlike normal fights, you don't get to pick your fighter. You're stuck with who the story gives you. That means even if you're bad with them, too bad. Sindel's still coming for you. Liu Kang, final boss. Liu Kang is normally the hero, but in Aftermath, he's a god-tier final boss. He combines the powers of Raiden and Liu Kang, and the result is terrifying. He teleports, uses lightning, summons fire dragons, and time skips like Doctor Strange on steroids. What makes this fight brutal is the pace. It's non-stop. There's barely any breathing room, and his attack patterns switch up constantly. He doesn't just test your reflexes, he tests your soul. So here's the question. Why are Mortal Kombat bosses so stupidly hard? Well, part of it is design. The devs wanted you to feel like you're facing gods, demons, and warlords, not just stronger versions of normal characters. But the real reason? It's to humble you. Mortal Kombat doesn't want to be nice, it wants to hurt, and then make you beg for more. These bosses are tests, they're the price of entry into MK greatness. Mortal Kombat has always walked the line between challenge and punishment. From the old arcade days, where beating Goro meant earning bragging rights at your local pizza joint, to the cinematic battles of MK11, the series has constantly evolved its bosses to match the times. But they've also kept one thing consistent. Every boss is a wall you crash into before victory feels real. And sure, some of it is definitely cheap. Input reading AI? Check. Impossible health pools? Check. Moves that break the rules? Double check. But that's the charm of Mortal Kombat. You don't walk into these fights expecting a fair game. You walk in ready to bleed for it. There's a certain moment every MK player remembers. That last sliver of health, that do-or-die second where it's either you or the boss. Your hands are sweaty, your heart's pounding, you dodge that final move, land a lucky combo, and suddenly silence. Then, finish him. That moment? That's the payoff for all the suffering. That's why we come back. Not just to win, but to conquer what felt unbeatable. These bosses? They're the mountain. And the fatality? That's the flag you plant on top. From Shao Kahn's relentless brute force to Kronika's time-bending cheap shots, these bosses aren't just enemies, they're legends. They've shaped how we play, rage, and celebrate in Mortal Kombat. And whether you beat them with skill, luck, or sheer stubbornness, one thing's for sure. If you face these 10, you've earned your place in the MK Hall of Pain. Now hit the next video and see which fatalities broke the internet.